I might actually reread this guide on content marketing. It's the SEO's guide to content marketing. I am obsessed with content marketing. I love content marketing. I've loved content marketing ever since I learned about it, I think in 2015, and I read the SEO's guide to content marketing. I might actually reread this because I'm looking at it now for content for this podcast, and I'm thinking, wow, I could reread this and learn a lot and relearn a lot. So I think I might reread this over the next couple of days. It's brolic, it's deep, it's thick. You can search Moz, the SEO's guide to content marketing if you wanna check it out. The reason I have it up is because I wanted to read the introduction to this article on the Fermi Paradox from the Wait But Why blog. And the reason that I'm going to read this is because this article was an example given by Moz for content marketing that gets backlinks, gets a lot of links. I'm actually putting this into one of my SEO tools right now so I can tell you how many links this specific page got. Absolutely crazy. This specific page has 2.3 thousand linking domains to it, 8.4 thousand inbound links, and ranks for 168 keywords. Man, and the Wait But Why blog, waitbutwhy.com, has a domain authority of 79 out of 100. It's a very authoritative site. It can go after many keywords. It can rank for so many things, so many purchase intent, bottom of funnel keywords if it wanted to. But I don't think the author, Tim Urban, cares anymore. But it's such a good example. And so that's why I have this Moz SEO's guide to content marketing up, because it was how I learned this guide, was how I learned about the article for the Fermi Paradox. It was actually how I learned about the Fermi Paradox in the first place. If you don't know what the Fermi Paradox is, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm going viral on Instagram right now with a video about the Fermi Paradox. I did when I was living in Warsaw at the beginning of this year. I went to a park near where I was living in Warsaw, Poland, and I made a video about how Sam Altman thinks AI could be a reason for the Fermi Paradox. I made that video. I made it really fast. It went unexpectedly viral, over 500,000 views. And I just took that video this week and I put it up on IG Reels using the trick that I've talked about. Now it's going viral again. So, but the first time I learned about the Fermi Paradox was when I was learning about SEO. And I remember that because I was living in this new apartment that me and my friend had got. This crazy story, which I'll tell in another episode. We're living in this apartment in Williamsburg and Brooklyn in New York. We had just moved in. I'm going so hard on SEO, learning as much as I can. I was a new 2000, I think the year is 2015, and it was late. And I was going down the SEO rabbit hole late at night, and it was 2 a.m. and I was sitting on the couch and I was reading this article at the Fermi Paradox, and I was so enthralled by this article. And I'll tell you, we had a roommate who ended up squatting in our apartment. It's not a good, we didn't know anything, so we let a lawyer, we were 26, we let a 42-year-old lawyer live with us in New York, and this guy ended up squatting, and he was not a nice person. So I was trying to tell him about the Fermi Paradox, and he was just like, who cares? But you know what? I care. And that's why I'm going to read the introduction. I care, one, because it's cool. The Fermi Paradox is interesting. And two, this is brilliantly written. It's an example of long form content that can get so many links for a website, increase the domain authority of a website so much, and allow you to rank for so many bottom of funnel keywords. Keywords where people know what they want to buy or use, and they don't know the brand that's going to give it to them. Keywords that will make you money. SEO that will make you money, that will get you customers, that will get you users, that will get you visibility, precious visibility. This is going to make you famous. There we go. That's my promise. That's my promise to you. This is going to make you famous. So this is going to be part of a larger series where I talk about SEO content marketing, because I'm probably going to go down this rabbit hole over the next couple of days like I did so many years ago. I'm going to start this one with the introduction from the Fermi Paradox by Tim Urban from waitbutwhy.com. So this is what Moz says about this specific article. What makes great content? According to Matthew J. Brown, great content combines multiple elements of the qualities listed below. Relevant and recent. Instead of writing about how to create a great piece of content, write about the impact of a great piece of content on an event or topic the audience is familiar with. Makes sense. That's newsjacking with Ryan Holiday, which we've talked about. Then long form, take a deeper dive on a topic than the audience is used to seeing, even if the information itself is familiar. What the Wait But Why blog did with the Fermi Paradox is a stellar example of evergreen content. So this list goes on, but I'm going to go now to the Fermi Paradox. I want to tell you how many words this page is. According to wordcounter.com, this article is 4,395 words. I took the direct content of the article and pasted it in, so that is the accurate number for how long this article is. I'm not going to read all 4,395 words to you. I'm only going to read the introduction, which is enough to get you inspired. I think I've told somebody else this recently. I think the introduction to a piece of content marketing is so important. It's like the hook in a TikTok. It's the hook in an email. It's a hook in anything. It's how you get people to feel good. And let me tell you what I've experienced, which is so crazy. If the introduction is good enough, people will link to it without finishing the whole thing. I've seen that myself. I've done that myself. And this is an example of a really good introduction, an introduction that will inspire you and make you want to share. So without further ado, this is the Fermi Paradox, the introduction to the Fermi Paradox by Tim Urban from May 21, 2014. Everyone feels something when they're in a really good starry place on a really good starry night, and they look up and see this. Some people stick with the traditional feeling struck by the epic beauty or blown away by the insane scale of the universe. So there's a picture of the universe above. Personally, I go for the old existential meltdown followed by acting weird for the next half hour, but everyone feels something. Physicist Enrico Fermi felt something too. Where is everybody? A really starry sky seems vast, but all we're looking at is our very local neighborhood. On the very best nights, we can see up to about 2,500 stars, roughly 100 millionth of the stars in our galaxy, and almost all of them are less than 1,000 light years away from us, or 1% of the diameter of the Milky Way. So what we're really looking at is this, and it's there's a picture, a little dot in our galaxy, and then the little dot has an arrow pointing to it that says our night sky consists of a small selection of the very brightest and nearest stars in the red circle. When confronted with the topic of stars and galaxies, a question that tantalizes most humans is there other intelligent life out there? Let's put some numbers to it. As many stars as there are in our galaxy, 100 to 400 billion, there are roughly an equal number of galaxies in the observable universe. So for every star in the colossal Milky Way, there's a whole galaxy out there. Altogether, that comes out to the typically quoted range between 10 to the power of 22 and 10 to the power of 24 total stars, which means that for every grain of sand on a beach on Earth, there are 10,000 stars out there. The science world isn't in total agreement about what percentage of those stars are sun-like, similar in size, temperature, and luminosity. Opinions typically range from 5% to 20%. Going with the most conservative side of that, 5%, and the lower end for the number of total stars, 10 to the power of 22, gives us 500 quintillion, or 500 billion sun-like stars. There's also a debate over what percentage of those sun-like stars might be orbited by an Earth-like planet, one with similar temperature conditions that could have liquid water and potentially support life similar to that on Earth. Some say it's as high as 50%, but let's go with the more conservative 22% that came out of a recent PNAS study. That suggests that there's a potentially habitable Earth-like planet orbiting at least 1% of the total stars in the universe, a total of 100 billion Earth-like planets. So there are 100 Earth-like planets for every grain of sand in the world. Think about that next time you're on the beach. Moving forward, we have no choice but to get completely speculative. Let's imagine that after billions of years in existence, 1% of Earth-like planets develop life. If that's true, every grain of sand would represent one planet with life on it. And imagine that on 1% of those planets, the life advances to an intelligent level like it did here on Earth. That would mean there were 10 quadrillion or 10 million billion intelligent civilizations in the observable universe. Moving back to just our galaxy and doing the same math on the lowest estimate for stars in the Milky Way, 100 billion, we'd estimate that there are 1 billion Earth-like planets and 100,000 intelligent civilizations in our galaxy. SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, is an organization dedicated to listening for signals from other intelligent life. If we're right that there are 100,000 or more intelligent civilizations in our galaxy, and even if a fraction of them are sending out radio waves or laser beams or other modes of attempting to contact others, shouldn't SETI's satellite dish array pick up all kinds of signals? But it hasn't. Not one. Ever. Where is everybody? It gets stranger. Our sun is relatively young in the lifespan of the universe. There are far older stars with far older Earth-like planets, which should, in theory, mean civilizations far more advanced than our own. As an example, let's compare our 4.5 billion-year-old Earth to a hypothetical 8 billion-year-old Planet X. If Planet X has a similar story to Earth, let's look at where their civilization would be today, using this orange time span as a reference to show how huge the green time span is. And there's a few very crude drawings in this, just very simple drawings in this article that anyone could make with Microsoft Paint. It's about the content. The technology and knowledge of a civilization only 1,000 years ahead of us could be as shocking to us as our world would be to a medieval person. A civilization 1 million years ahead of us might be as incomprehensible to us as human culture is to chimpanzees, and Planet X is 3 billion years ahead of us. Basically, this article goes on to say we should be bombarded with signals for life aside from our own. We should be bombarded with signals from extraterrestrial intelligence, and we hear nothing. But what I like about this introduction is I was smiling when I was reading it because it's great. It's an example of great copy. It's an example of an interesting topic, and it's something that gets this website a lot of links. I want to just read this again. Long form. This is from Moz. Long form. Take a deeper dive on a topic than the audience is used to seeing, even if the information itself is familiar. What the Wait But Why blog did with the Fermi Paradox is a stellar example of evergreen content, and it's evergreen. It's not timely, but it can deliver traffic over the long term, and lots of it. People keep going back. To me, this is inspiring. Keeps getting links. I love this. The domain authority keeps increasing. I'm going to leave you with this. You're more likely, if you pick something that where you use data to see what people are interested in, and you pick a good topic, you're more likely to get a ton of links on something. Let's say you write something that's 4,000 words versus you write 8 articles that are 500 words. That 4,000 word article is about something interesting, and you put in 8 times the work, and you're more than 8 times as likely to get a ton of backlinks from that and increase your domain authority just a ridiculous amount. Something to keep in mind. This is episode 148 of The Edward Show, my daily podcast about growth hacking and everything marketing. Hope I'm bringing you all so much value. I bring myself value when I do this because I remind myself of really important topics. This is one of them. Sitting out here in Poland, it's cold, but my apartment is warm. I'm making some vegetable broth on the stove, and my apartment smells delightful. To my right, I have a cup of coffee that I brewed with tea leaves in a mocha pot, and it tastes wonderful. I'm going to enjoy it now while I edit this, and I wish all of you just the best day ever. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to all of you again tomorrow. Bye now.